In 1974, the first tabletop role-playing game was created. Since then, people from all around have gathered to play. Join me as we talk with RPG enthusiasts while they share their best, worst, and favorite moments. This is You Had to Be There.
Hey everyone, welcome to You Had to Be There, a D&D storytelling podcast. I have my first guest from Serbia, right? Serbia today. I am joined by Nico Mitrovic from Elven Firefly. Elven Firefly, checked out the website. It's very, very cool, filled with different adventure locations, NPCs, D&D articles, and I do like how you mention how it's kind of system agnostic, and you can kind of like play around through different systems. So how long have you been doing your website for?
Thank you very much. First of all, thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course.
Absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
I've been having a website for a year for now. I was talking about it to start this for a couple of years. But then, suddenly I was talking to my father, and he was very supportive, and he said, yeah, okay, so you should make a website. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to make a website, next month. And one day he just calls me, and he says, so I set up a meeting with my web developer. You're going to go, and you're going to make a website. And it started from there.
Awesome. How long were you playing? How long have you been playing tabletop RPGs?
For about 7 or 8 years.
So okay, yeah, that's a good chunk of time.
Yeah, 2015 I started.
Is D&D like 5th edition your main thing, or do you play other systems?
I wish to diverse to more systems. Recently I saw a cool Kickstarter about Blade Runner RPG. So they have a different
cool.
Yeah, they have a different system, and I'm eager to check that out. But it's been a D&D for me from the beginning.
Nice. What got you started? Like what sparked it initially?
So in 2015, I saw a video online of people playing, and
Okay.
it was so mesmerizing and capturing.
Yeah.
And all that. So I sent a message to my friend and said, "Hey, do you know about this game?" And he says, "Yeah, it's D&D." And I'm like, "Yes, I see it's D&D. It's the perfect hobby that we can do." And he says, "Yeah, well, I can run you a game." And I said, "So for a couple of years we've been knowing each other, and you're telling me this now?"
Oh, okay. And, so he was playing for a while already?
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Not so often, but he knew the ropes, and he ran a session for me and my friend, and it was a very good session. That all that possibilities coming into play of what you're gonna do. Will you climb the tree or set a camp on the bottom?
Yeah,
and so on. And since then, I said, "Well, this is awesome, but this can go so much deeper, so much more, and there can be a whole world, and I have to be the world." And since then, I've been running it.
Mostly running it since then. Nice. Do you?
Yeah.
And I'm guessing from your website you homebrew like your own worlds and everything. I am a little curious. So is D&D big in Serbia? I don't really know much about the. Yeah.
Yeah, that is an excellent question. Not so much. Not so much. And that's why it took some time for me to discover it, because we weren't so exposed to that.
Right.
But over the years, as the D&D and tabletop RPGs are on the rise, there have been more and more people going into D&D. And actually, yesterday I was on a birthday party, and usually when people ask me like, "What do you do?" I just say write, because to explain to them that I do tabletop, but I write, but I'm not really a novelist. I write articles and all that. And I mentioned Dungeons and Dragons, and one person who is like 40 or 50 goes, yeah, I know that. Another person goes like, yeah, I've played it as well. So it was the most pleasant conversation that I had. As like, yeah,
that's like what's so fun about this, and I part of the reason why like I started doing what I do is because I was so shocked to find out how many people I still meet people and like maybe they don't currently play, but maybe they played like in the 80s or whatever, and they're just like, oh, I didn't even realize like people still did that. And yeah, it's an amazing culture shock on how many. I've only been playing for a couple of years myself, but like I've been blown away by like the history and stuff like that. What kind of a DM style do you do? Are you like super by the rules? Do you kind of keep it loosey goosey, somewhere in between?
Somewhere in between. More like loosey goosey. I like to use the rules to enforce the story. If it is relevant to the story, let's enforce it to make a fun moment. And I like to get descriptive, but not so much. I like to immerse players into the world and hit a debt on those emotions, like about NPCs and the plot twist and everything. And occasionally I like to break fourth wall, like like in one of the campaigns, the party had cleaned some mines from some undead and so on, and there was only one miner who survived, and it was a bloodbath.
Okay.
So after the 1 hour of the battle, the the miner who survived just looked at them, and he was so stupefied, he just went clapping. And we made it a running joke that every time when they kill or clean a dungeon, like far away into a different continent, there is this miner who somehow magically follows them and just claps and disappears.
You should make him into a bard at some point, just like a level 1 bard that follows them around telling their stories. That's hilarious. That's funny. Do you have any other like what I mean I see I like that turtle NPC you just put on your website. What was her name?
Grandma Tia.
Yes. Grandma
Thank
Tia.
you so
I love
much.
turtles a lot. They're like one of my favorite races, so right away I love that. Is that one that was drawn from one of your games, or is that one that you kind of did mostly for your website?
I did it mostly for the website for the to share it with people, and it was inspired by a lovely creator in tabletop RPG space, Penny Blake. Shout out.
Yeah, shout out.
A wonderful person, and she just inspired me so much. And I was just thinking about an NPC and the similarities between her and Grandma Tia, and I just mashed it together, and it was a perfect. Lovable NPC, a very lovable NPC.
Yeah, she seems like it. I always picture like turtles on more of that like kind of big, calm, lovable kind of front, which is I made a turtle barbarian, but he was like this sweet old man and would only like get, he would rage, but I gave him like ancestral guardian. So even when he was raging, like his main focus was, I'm gonna hit and then try to make everyone hit me and not my friends, like very like caretaking kind of thing. So I love that about turtles. You mentioned Penny Blake. It was.
Yes, it is. Penny Blake. Yes.
Did she do the artwork too, or who does the artwork for you?
Myself.
Yourself? You do the artwork too?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I do it kind of draw/photo bash. So I purchase pictures from Shutterstock and so on, and then I blend it together to make it. But it has a drawback, because sometimes I have the idea that I cannot find the perfect picture, and bashing it doesn't give the desired result.
Not always feasible, yeah.
Yeah. So in the future, I hope, it will happen, I don't know when, to have a artist commission that to do it professionally with their skill and talent.
Yeah.
And to have that from the mind onto the paper.
The wow, pardon me. The like Twitter community has a lot of really great artists, so there's definitely places there, and there's some like sites too that I've spoke with people that you can just go and just kind of like oversee people's art and see what really jives.
Yeah.
Because your website is beautiful. Like I love the artwork on it.
Thank
Very
you so
pretty,
much.
very elegant. Cool. What was your when you first started playing? What did you start playing as a character? Who was your first or one of your favorite characters that you remember before you took up the valiant role of forever DM?
So I don't remember the first one because it was just one session.
Oh,
And
okay.
right after that, I jumped into DMing like 3 weeks later.
Oh my gosh. Oh, all right. Wow.
But I do remember one of my favorites. We played a couple of years ago. One of my players ran a campaign, level 20 campaign,
Oh.
which we never played level 20. And he said, "I want to make this epic. I want to make this big." He said, "Let's go." And I have a soft spot for dwarves, gnomes, and halflings. Everything that is short.
Small. I feel that. You said which one? You said gnomes, halflings, and what was the first one you said?
Dwarves.
Dwarves. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So this was Orion Stonehammer, and he was a war cleric. He was a captain of that whole like a clergy, like order.
Yeah.
And because we were level 20, my friend, he allowed me to have a homebrewed item that I made from my world, which is a big, it's called Hammer of Grimthor. So it is a big two-handed maul hammer, sort of maul, that you can bash and smash everything. And it has a property that when it hits the ground, you can make whatever item you want. It's like the forger's maul.
Okay.
And it came into play because we were attacked by some dark forces, some demons, and really some cultists. And as we were defending the city, there was a big, gigantic portal opening in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
And we flew up, and immediately Orion thought, okay, so we are basically untouchable, but what about the people? What about the people? So we have to somehow protect the people. And I took a Hammer of Grimthor, and I hit the portal and imagined thousands of rings of protection to materialize. And my friend, he just went with it, and there was a rain of rings just falling down on the ground, and people taking them and putting them on the fingers.
Wow. So it doesn't even have like a limit of like simple items, just literally any item you want, pretty much.
Yeah,
Pretty
it is
busted.
a god.
It's a pretty busted weapon there. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Kudos to your friend for letting you have that. I would have been like, no way.
Yeah,
I would have been like,
exactly,
you can make
exactly.
like, you know, a tankard or something. I don't know. But no, that's a very, very cool item. So what about your world? Like what so you create your own world in your games. What's that like?
It is the best thing in the world, in this our world. I love it.
Mhm.
It was built in steps, and it was built through the help of my players, because when you think about it, you can have all the maps and cities and whatnot, but you cannot flesh out the whole world.
Right.
The players have to come through it, and you have then to flesh out as as they go. So it all started with a single quest. It was actually the very quest that I did 3 weeks later after playing first time. And it started with a small tavern and a small quest to find a witch, which spread into an area, which spread into the continent, which then spread into 5 continents, and it was gradually building and adding pieces of information and lore.
Yeah, I've heard that like there's no, and it does make sense. There's no way you can flush out an entire world and try to build that off. So starting them in a particular region and just be like, it's a desert up that way. It's not a desert that way. It's this way. Yeah. So it makes a ton of sense to kind of like slowly make their way through. And it would make sense too. Like, I don't know, you can't drop me into Serbia and I know anything about it. It's like,
Yeah.
I need to, even driving across the country, like I don't even know what some states even remotely look like. So
Yeah.
it makes sense that, neither does the DM really have to, because it's from the perspective of the players. how did that first? So they went and hunched. How many players do you like to play with? Do you play a couple questions? Do you play
Yeah.
virtually or in person? And how many players do you play with?
So I played both virtual and in person.
Okay.
When there was a COVID, it was more virtual. And even now, I have a group that we play virtually because we have several people from different countries.
Yeah.
And my sweet spot is 4 or 5 players. 5, to be honest, because there's always odd number, so they can break the vote and everything.
Yeah, that makes
So I
sense.
think, yeah, 5 is sweet spot for me. So what was the other question? Sorry.
How many? Oh, so you have 3, and then oh no, you answered both. 3 or 5. How many do you have in your current game?
In my current game, I have one. In one, I have 4, which
4.
is a small, short adventure to introduce some friends to D&D. And in the other ongoing campaign, I have 5.
That's cool. Ah, yeah, nice. I think 4 to 5 in person, maybe 6 if you are good. Virtually, I think 3 to 4 is the way to go. Because virtual, just the more people you have, the just harder it gets. Especially if you don't use cameras, you can't even see when people are like you can see when someone goes to lean in, like they're about to say something, you can stop yourself. But virtual, like you see all those boxes just light up all at once, and it gets a little crazy.
It takes you energy to hold the virtual table attention.
Yeah, and it's tough too because you don't know, like people get distracted and there's your Discord's blowing up on their end. You can't even tell.
You're muted.
Yeah, you're muted. Yeah, exactly. I was blanking out on what I the new player thing. I love doing that. That's why I'm not like a great DM because I also like don't like to prep that much. I'm very busy, but like I like running games for people that haven't played before. I'm like, cool, now go find someone who knows what they're doing, and then I get I've had friends I ran a game for, and then cut to a month later, they're playing in like 2 or 3 games a week, and that's an awesome feeling. Do you do that a lot for your like friends who want to try to play?
I do, and actually, it had gotten to a point when people like this new group that I'm playing with. I have a one guy who goes like, so I spoke with my friends, and there's 5 of them, and they would love to have a DM, and I was like, that is awesome, but I cannot take any more people.
Right.
So, but I always like, and I have another group waiting for me to. They don't know anything about it, to run them a game. So I try to introduce to this wonderful hobby as much as I can.
Nice. Have you ever considered, because you've been DMing for so long, there's like sites now like Start Playing and any of these other ones?
Yeah.
Are you going down that road at all?
I have been on that road. I have a profile on Start Playing,
nice.
And I actually ran a game for free to just get what is it like with new people. You know your friends, and you know their energy and everything, and but I wanted to see how is it like, and it was an awesome experience. It was scary at first. I remember I was hyperventilating and like, okay, you can do this, slowly. But it was awesome because they bring some stuff that you don't know. They are characters and they are characteristics, and they just do something that your regular players won't think about. And we had like 3 or 4 sessions, and it was awesome. So if needed, currently I'm devoting my time to Evan Firefly, but if needed, I can start hosting games again on Start.
Yeah. I think it's a really valuable tool to be able to go out and just find someone to run games, because like that was always the thing for a lot of people I know is like, I want to play, but I can't run a game. Like I'm not going to do it, and it's really not super expensive. I've seen like some of the rates. Some of I've had past guests who use Start Playing, and they do it either full time or part time, and really it's not unreasonable. I think most people, they're like, it's like $20 per person or whatever, and it's like that's for a few hours of play. Like you spend more money on I can think of, you spend more money at Taco Bell sometimes. It's like it's so I think it's such a great resource for people and be like, hey, you want to play? Like, go ahead. You don't need to read the books at all.
Yeah.
Read the classes and learn how to play a character, but that's all you really need. Very cool.
Exactly.
When you did that, did you get more people from your neck of the woods? Did you get people from all over the
No, actually, I got from all over the world.
That's awesome.
I haven't. As we said, it's not so. It is getting better, but not so many people play D&D in Serbia. Not that I know of.
Right.
They are, of course, but not as many
there.
as in the West. So I got. I think all 4 people were from US. I cannot remember. But it was fun. It was definitely fun to see and have some new experiences.
Yeah, and it's also probably a good change of pace for a lot of people too, because everyone, like, you have a different style, so maybe they've played with other people before. So that's really good. Follow-up question. So in Serbia, was there ever any like misconstrued or misunderstandings about what D&D was? Did you ever hear anything like that? Because, like, I don't know if you're familiar, but like in the States, we had like that whole satanic panic and like all this crazy misunderstanding of the game, and I'm just curious if like other countries experience that.
Whenever I read about it and remember it, it is such sad thing, like it is a wonderful hobby that allows you to experience and to learn and grow. So I'm saddened when I hear that. Here in Serbia, I don't think we had that anything like that. There is maybe a stigma towards nerdy stuff, but it's not bound to Serbia. I mean,
yeah,
it's worldly.
Yeah,
so I don't think
go ahead.
It was much of a
That's good. That's good to hear. I mean, there was always, the nerd thing was like pushed down for a while, and now like it's just everyone's like, nah, you can't tell us that we can't enjoy these things. Like, no one cares anymore. So like that's a good. I mean, there are still I've met a few like people that are like, oh, can you believe what's going on in this world? I saw this adult man got this little they were talking about a pop figurine, and he's like, I don't understand. And I'm like, so what? It's not in your house. Mind your own business. Like, I don't care. Like, so that's good. So what are your games like? Let's get into the fun things. Like, what your main campaign now? Like, you have the one that you run full time. Is that the in-person one?
Yes.
Okay.
I had 2 main campaigns that I ran in person. One is currently dissolved, but the other is it is wonderful because it started with a simple quest. They were bound to find Stormstone, which is a bluish crystal that powers the whole world of Drown, my home world. And it started like we go on a quest to find Stormstone, but then their actions were painted the whole campaign. So along the way, every creature they were supposed to fight. For example, Rashi, who is a big old troll, ice troll, and he has dreadlocks, and he's so like loving but also fierce. Mm-hmm. They made friends with him. And then another ogre that they're supposed to kill, they made friends with him as well. And then a bunch of stuff. So now the campaign turned into them collecting all the various alliances and critters and monsters. And then I saw where it was going. They found the crystal like half a year ago, but then I pulled the plug, and their hometown from where they began got there was a subterfuge, and now one party holding all the people hostage, and they locked the doors, and everything is chaotic. There is bloodshed. So now they're collecting all of that armies. And that
they built an army.
Yeah, exactly. To go and smash the doors and liberate the city.
That's awesome. So that's like such a scary thing. I don't know. How do you handle that as a DM when like the party just keeps building? Because we're starting to do that too in our campaign. We're just like, my bard, our one ranger's wife was like hired. Well, she was like hired to kill me, and then we're like, wait, don't do that. We're gonna turn me in and rescue me after for money, but come aboard our ship. And then we just have a monk that used to travel with us, and she's like doing too much work, and we're like, you're stressing yourself out, come with us on our skyship. Like, we're starting to do that. I'm like, oh no, what's about to happen right now? So how do you handle that as a DM when your PCs just start bringing on leveled NPCs?
Yeah, that is definitely a scary thing. To be honest, at the beginning, at the early stage of my DMing career, so to say, I was way more railroady, and when
Right.
they were trying to do something, I was like, no, and I just kill off an NPC or just But now I just I try to find the ways to let them bring all those NPCs, but then when they go to a quest, I find some usage of that NPC that is more important than going on a quest. For example, Rashi the troll, which is like CR9 or 8,
Right.
would smash everything.
Right.
But he had the more important quest, that is to meet the ogre that they also saved, and to accumulate 200 goblins under their command, which was much bigger. So that's how I just like delegate the usage or their neediness.
That's smart. And then like when they go for this big battle, you can kind of run that more of as a one large army unit instead of having to run every, and you can give it like a collective. If it's an army of goblins, you could just give it like X amount of hit points, and maybe they just fire a slew of arrows.
Exactly.
Like a was that 300 style, they just like carpet bomb the whole thing with arrows.
Spartans.
Like that's exactly. So that's great. That's smart.
I told.
Go ahead.
I told them like we're gonna have an epic battle. D&D is not built for epic battles,
right?
But somehow we're gonna make it work. And I think that is there needs to be communication between players and the DM. Like I will make us an epic battle, but know that we cannot play every step of it. So we're gonna have to. You have to be in that mindset that still we're gonna have a singular battles for you guys, and then you maybe delegate the forces and so on.
Yeah, and if you watch Lord of the Rings, it's really not, it looks like they're taking down the whole army, but they're not. They're in like this tiny little section, or sometimes they're split, and you got like two of them working on the bridge over here and some of them over here, and so it makes sense that you have to have your reinforcements, but you can just kind of play it out cinematically on how that goes down.
Yeah.
Getting all of these NPCs and is this party like extremely charismatic, or did they just roll really well?
We have Wish as a character, as a PC character, who is a Snow Tabaxi bard.
Okay.
Who is called Wish Upon a Star, and she's so lovable and so easygoing, and she just makes friends everywhere. And I just adore having roleplay moments with her, because there goes Rashi, the big troll who will not let you pass. And she goes like, "You have nice fur and nice dreadlocks," and she rolls persuasion plus 23, and Rashi's like, "Bet me, please, just bet me." Just bet me. Come.
That's
up on
so funny, man. Tabaxi Bard seems to be like the thing recently. Like I've had my last episode with my cousin. He played a Tabaxi Bard. I was listening to, I think it's the In the Land of Cheese and Sauce podcast with my friend Jacob Chorus. I think one of their characters plays a Tabaxi Bard. I ran a one shot for someone else, played a Tabaxi Bard. Everyone just likes the Tabaxi Bards. The nails are good for the strings, the finger picking.
Exactly. Exactly. And they do love the shinies when you pay them.
They do like the shinies, yeah. I haven't played a Tabaxi yet, but it's maybe on my list. I think I like the idea of a Leonin a little bit more, the lion, the kind of bigger cat. But I like the weird races a lot. I like the more, I'm like you, other than halflings and anything that's like half animal, like turtles or satyrs or anything like that, always seems like fun to me, because I'm already a human, and humans are pretty, which ironically, once again, I'm not a big fan of the human race, and I'm not a huge fan of bards, and I'm playing a human bard right now, but I put my own spin on it. But yeah, I don't know why. Like I'm already a human. I don't want to play a human, even though they get that extra feat, which is nice.
Yeah, let's try Genasi. Let's try
Yeah, those ones are
to
cool.
see to have your body blend with the element or
Elements, yeah. That's a very cool
exactly.
one.
I'm
The
the
rabbit
same.
folk one is cool too. I like all the weird special abilities that the animal ones get. They're like it's just not typical.
Yeah.
Um, what other classes do you have? What's your team? The core team, not the army.
The core team of the campaign.
Yeah.
So we have a human paladin of vengeance
All right.
that wreaks havoc. So
Yeah.
she Ari is formidable, formidable. She's so powerful. We have a tiefling ranger.
Cool.
We have a Furbolg priest, who is the most corrupted, most comical a priest ever. So he's following Skadian, which is a dragon deity in Dreon, and he's like, yeah, I follow the dragon, but I like to go and have some fun in night and so on and so forth. So that was a really comical relief. And we have a Warforged that was Warlock and now is Wild Magic Sorcerer. He had the
A
whole arc of
Warforged wild magic sorcerer / warlock. That's interesting because like when you think Warforged, you don't think charismatic. How do they flavor those spells? Are they like more like mechanical, or is it still come out like traditional magic?
The way the Warforged work in Dreon is that the Storm Stone that I was talking about is
Oh, okay.
embedded in their chest. It is their heart. So every power comes from that stone, and they did they did some reflavoring of some of the abilities, but then we really hit the jackpot when it was a whole character arc. He found his maker, which forsaken him, and so on and so forth, and they took his life at the end. It was really emotional, really heavy. So the Warforged, he just said, I will forsake my old ways and I will become new. I will have a rebirth. And because how stormstones are volatile and unstable, he said, I will be a wild magic sorcerer. And it was a jackpot. It was
That's
really,
awesome.
really good.
So instead of like using that quote unquote patron who made him, is just like I'm just gonna use what I have now and try and
Yeah.
develop it myself, which is cool. It's like that kind of creating your own innate magic. Yeah, I like that. It's interesting to me, like a Warforged. I always thought a Warforged like Eldritch Knight would be really cool because like the way the spells could work, it could just like look more like a like mechanical in a sense. I kind of like that
they're
flair.
big and burly.
Yeah, but having it be like just straight magic user is very interesting. All right, nice. What other fun stories? So what kind of other than taking all of your NPCs for their army
Yeah.
has been occurring? How long have you been playing this game for? How long has this campaign been going on for?
So this campaign for I think a year,
Cool.
year and something, something. So I have a pretty cool story. Actually, one of the players that plays in this current campaign played in that. It was one of our very first campaigns, and it is well, you had to be there to know that story. So the party was hired. Well, they were not hired, but they were chasing that witch. They were chasing a witch to find and to liberate. And,
This was
and
that
everything.
first the initial kickoff.
Yes,
Awesome.
yes. Which the initial kickoff, the same quest I ran for two groups. So the initial kickoff I ran for one group, but then the same I ran for this group that I'm telling the story about.
Cool.
And they were chasing to find that witch and to see how to defeat it, to defeat her. And they were bound to go from the capital to the dwarven city to find something, a next clue. And they took an airship. It was 5 days of travel under fair weather, and off they went. So for first 3 days, nothing happened, right? It was all peaceful. Everything was good. They were making acquaintances with friendships with the crew, with the captain. They were playing cards, partying. Everything is good. Everything is fine. And then one night, at dusk, a crew member comes in, and there were some war horns blowing, and he goes, "Captain, Captain, sky pirates." And the captain and the crew and the party goes up, and the captain starts barking orders, tighten the sail, everything. Let's try to dodge them. And from the sky come 3 blue wyverns, which were tied to one player's backstory, and on them were 3 riders, and they were so far away, so they cannot be hit by ballista and everything, but still chasing after the ship. And they try to outmaneuver, go left and right, and eventually the fight breaks loose. And the sky pirates and wyverns start swooping around and just grabbing the crew and just tossing them into the air. Right? And the players now start to prepare the action. Every time when they swoop, they want to hit it. But they grow wary because they do damage, but still the crew leaves the ship. Who will run the ship?
Oh no.
Yeah. And they eventually manage to get some hits on them with the ballista and everything. And one of the wyverns lands on the stern of the ship. And the ship is powered by 3 crystals, the same crystals, storm stones, that levitate the ship, right? And the wyvern starts bashing on one Goliath monk player, starts bashing, and they start hitting each other. The Goliath lands a critical. The wyvern lands a critical. Bloodbath. And the rider of that wyvern jumps down and starts bashing the crystals, because he sees that is powering that, and like I'm gonna
trying to take the whole ship down. Yeah,
exactly. Meanwhile, the rest of the party, they're still trying to dodge the 2 swooping wyverns that's still going on. They see this guy, they start to hit him, and it was just short of the damage as he slams on the crystal. The crystal bursts open. He couldn't escape it. He lost his life. That catches the wyvern as well, killing the wyvern, and the whole ship goes to the left side.
That's so awesome.
And I just say, okay, dexterity saving throw, everyone. And they roll. So the party consists of a sorcerer, 2 monks, and a rogue. Now, the sorcerer, he is the player that plays in this current campaign. So he's a very smart player. And he always positioned himself like in between the lines, next to the railing. It's impossible to get him out. So everyone manages except Rogue, who is also very dexterous, but she rolled a natural 1. And she flips overboard.
Oh, no.
And now it gets real, because until that point, the party was like, okay, we have some threats. They are throwing up the NPCs. Okay, we are sad for them, but not really. But now it is one of our own. And as she goes overboard, she remembers that she has a grappling hook, like a mechanism on her bracelet.
Ooh.
Like from Assassin's Creed.
Oh, that's awesome.
And she fires it, and it pierces the ship. And she goes and slams on the side of the ship.
Oh.
Now that was hurtful, because back then now I would rule it like maybe 2d6 damage.
Right.
But then I was a lot less experienced. So I ruled it as 3d8.
Oh, geez. Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. This is how you learn, right?
That's how you learn, man.
Yeah.
And I rolled the dice, and it was 7, 7, 8. And she was left with 2 HP.
Oh.
And now party goes, okay, so she's on the side of the ship. There are still 2 wyverns with 2 riders on it. But then comes one of the wyverns, clings on top of her, and just starts to finish her off.
Right.
And they're like, okay. And she was a newest addition to the party. And they were like, okay, we cannot let her die. Like, she's playing with us for maybe like a month. Like, we have to save her. And one of the monks, the human monk, sees the other wyvern and he jumps on him. So he jumps on him, he pummels the rider with their key 17 hits, right? And just drops the rider into the abyss.
Mm-hmm.
And he clings onto the rider, onto the wyvern. But now wyvern is like, who are you?
I don't know you. Yeah.
I
now
did
it's
not
a
sign
rodeo.
up for this.
Yeah.
So now it's a rodeo.
Yeah.
And the wyvern just does a barrel rolls.
Death roll him, yeah.
Yeah. And just here, help me, and just going in circles. And eventually, the wyvern tosses him off the back. And this is all happening in 1 round. Seeing that, the Goliath monk sees now the rogue, whose rope broke, and she was also falling.
Oh my
as
gosh.
the wyvern managed to pierce the rope. So sees the rogue falling, sees his fellow monk falling, and he decides to jump on the same wyvern that the monk was on a few seconds before.
Oh my
He
gosh.
jumps, he rolls a natural 1 for
Oh no.
acrobatics, and just goes, wow! Just goes past it.
Past everybody.
Past everybody. And the best part is that the crew that was like 70% dead, there was 1 crew member who was still active on ballista, and they had that big scale piercing bolts, right? They were pretty heavy. So I rolled a strength check for him to see if he can, when he shoots, if he can pull it back up, reel it up.
Right.
And for 6 turns, he couldn't roll a strength check above 5.
Oh my god.
So everything was loose, and now the players were like rooting for him to roll below the 5 because it was so comical. And for 6 turns, he was like, "I got you," and just really.
So who was on the end of the who was at the other end of this? Everyone?
At the end of what?
At the end of the thing he was cranking up. Was it the?
Oh, it was no one. He was just shot the ballista.
Oh,
but
okay.
It missed, so he tried to.
So he's trying to get it ready and get it right back.
So he can shoot again. And now the sorcerer, who was so careful with positioning, with usage of spells, with everything for past hour and a half, in 1 round, the 3 of his party members are falling.
Yeah.
And I ask him, Floetic, what do you do? And he goes, well, I toss my cloak, I grab the railing, and I jump off. And as I jump off, I look at the the guy who is railing, and I give him thumbs up that I believe in him, and I just dive straight down. And this is where it really got intense, because I have not anticipated this. They have not seen this coming. And I don't know how are they gonna survive. I don't want to TPK the party.
Right. Well, it wouldn't be a TPK. You got the one guy up there still cranking away.
Yeah. So they're falling, and it is 4 of them. And Floetic, the sorcerer, goes like, okay, so we are falling. And I'm like, yes. He's like, we are falling like weightless. And I'm like, you're falling, and in a half a minute you will stop falling forever. And he goes, okay. So technically, we are weightless. And it is one of those moments that
you're like, oh god,
that players toss at you, and you start to like remember physics and be like, is it a mass? Okay, they have a mass, but they're weightless. What is the formula? And I just go, yeah.
What are you trying to do? Yeah.
What are you trying to do? And he goes, okay. So technically, and he puts his hand underneath the Goliath monk. Technically, he is weightless and weighs less than 5 pounds, and I can use my catapult spell to shoot him back at the ship. And I was like, technically? But the ship is on the cusp of your range, and you have to do me some check to like do a trajectory, because if he slams on the ship, he'll just keep on falling. And he does a check, and I remember that is the first time I called the DC. I said, you have to beat 18. And I cannot remember if he rolled a 19 or it added up to 19.
But he got it. He got a 19.
But he got it. And off the monk goes into the ship. He takes some damage, but he's there with the captain and the guy that is still getting his bolt. But now there's 3 of them, and I'm like, what are you gonna do now? And the other monk goes, well, I'm trying to, when we reach the bottom, I will try to like use shape water to make it like a big slide. And I was like, yeah, it's not gonna work. You're gonna smash into pieces.
Through, yeah.
And Sorcerer pulls out a small pyramid, which I forgot. So this pyramid I took from Divinity Original Sin, the game. In that game, you have 2 pyramids, and you have a blue and red one. You twist top of the one, it teleports your party to the location of the other one. And I gave them only 1 pyramid in the game, like 4 months ago, and I forgot about it, and they never used it because they don't know where it leads.
Right.
And he goes, like, we go together, we do acrobatics, we merge together, and it is important that he shot the Goliath because the pyramid only allows 3 people to be teleported. And he twists it, they disappear and reappear in Thieves' Den. In another danger, but out of mortal danger.
That's crazy. Wow, what a wild turn of events. That's I'm impressed. I guess I didn't think you could use catapult on a person. I thought it had to be an object, but I guess you could have just used I catapult your clothes and you're wearing them kind of thing. But that's hilarious that you can Yeah,
it was good thinking on their
That's
part.
some quick thinking. So then how did they find each other after that? Did they how far away was it?
So it was I positioned the Thieves' Den close to the city that they were going into.
Oh, okay.
The Dwarven city. So the monk, the Goliath, he was still on the ship going towards the Dwarven city. But they actually found in a whole different sorts of trouble because they were now in the treasury of the Thieves' Den.
Oh my gosh.
And it was one of the most improvised sessions that I ran because I had no clue.
Because everything fell apart? Yeah.
Everything fell apart. Everything fell apart. And basically, they rummaged around the treasury. They found some items, Staff of Charming, and so on and so forth. And in comes the little goblin, right? To check him out. The sorcerer charms him. And with some crazy persuasion skills, they manage not only to get out of the treasury, but they manage to come back in, 3 hours later, to speak with the head of the Thieves Guild, and to sell the story about a treasure of Anerok, which is a vast treasure, a vast airship that is to be crashed, and that crashed actually, and there is a vast treasure to be found. And they did, the sorcerer with high charisma rolled a natural 20, so they did an awesome job that now 20 years later, in this very world of Draon, there are people who seek the treasure of Anerok, right? So they're like considered lunatics, but they believe that there is a treasure of Anerok that they will find.
That's hilarious. Uh, Follow-up question. What happened to the two on the ship with the two wyverns?
The monsters.
Yeah. The ones that were left behind with the two wyverns that were killing off their party.
Yes.
And now they
so,
don't have their teammates.
Yeah. So they managed to kill them.
Okay.
I roleplayed a little bit of that. They managed to kill them, and it was all managed, and they converged again.
Wow, that's bonkers. That's I didn't even.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. What clever. It's great that players are clever, and it's important.
Yeah.
I it's fun to like do things and hold on to things until the very end, until you like really need that. And I'm always on that train. I like don't like using my items unless it's like super specific. I mean, I held on to an inspiration once for like months. I was like, no, I don't need it yet. I was rolling great for months, and I was like, yeah, I was like, this was an inspiration given to me by the Traveler that I get one use out of, and I saved it until the last fight of the entire campaign.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and I ended up rolling, and Wild Magic Surge happens, and it ended up spawning us a unicorn, which pretty much helped us fight the main boss. So I was like, see, if I didn't save that to the end, I could have wasted it on something stupid, like whatever. So it was like, you just, sometimes you just know. Sometimes you just know that you just want to like, so like having that pyramid, just like one day we're going to need this. I don't know where it goes, but yeah, teleporting anywhere other than certain death is great. Love that. Oh my God.
Awesome.
That was a wonderful story. Very flushed out. Thank you for that. Did you have any other shorter ones that you wanted to share, or was that your?
It is my main one. I have a shorter story. I'll keep it short.
Sure, let's do that one because I do like to get a clip. Unfortunately, I don't think I'll be able to clip that one. It was a great story. And I definitely
sorry to expand so much.
No, there's no problem with that at all. I could like splice bits and pieces of it, but I want to hear one more because I just want to make sure I can at least either some portion of that previous story or whatever you have now. I want to make sure we get you a good clip. But that was an amazing story. I loved it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I will give you a 2-minute clip.
Sure.
So the party on the same quest but a different group, still trying to find and kill the witch. They were trying to find a starstone, which is something that will help them relinquish the witch, right? They were deep into the mines. Deep into the mines. And they battled, they went left and right, they used all their resources. They stumbled upon a big waterfall. They jumped, they lost some health, they were beaten up. But they were on the track. Party's ranger goes first. And he goes like, I will go and investigate and see where the stone is. And he follows the Arcana trail. And he goes and goes and goes. And he goes into a big cave. And he sees a beautiful starstone embedded in the rock. And he's mesmerized. And he does not see the shadow. Well, I described him a shadow, but he ignored it. That ran past. And he goes to the rock. Goes for the starstone. For his surprise, that starstone was a prized possession of an Umberhulk, which was a formidable threat for the whole party, let alone for him alone. So the Umberhulk just starts trashing him left and right, and he goes down, and he remembers that Umberhulks like the shiny things, like they are the guardians. And as he is down, he extends his heavy crossbow, and he goes, I will shoot the starstone out of the rock. And I was like, okay, it's going to be hard. But he shoots it. The starstone plops into the air, and I'm like, okay, what now? And he goes, my pet, Gary, which is a raven, grabs the stone and just starts running. And as they start running, they meet up with the rest of the party, and they just start to beating up this Hulk. Unfortunately, the Umberhulk, as they are beaten up pretty bad, is winning, and he's tossing them left and right, left and right. They're trying to tie his legs and everything, but it's not working, and they cannot escape because they were like in a maze-like tunnel, and they're certain they will lose, and I don't know what to do. And I remember that 4 months ago in our time, so about a month in game time, the party fought a werewolf, and one of the PCs was bitten, and he failed a Constitution saving throw for lycanthropy.
Yeah.
And I just like, this is it. So as they were like dying and going left and right, I just say, Rowan, you start feeling your body just transform, and it is itchy, and you rip apart, and you transform into a giant werewolf. And now the whole fight was a werewolf against an Umber Hulk, with the party helping. And at the end, they managed
That's
to kill
awesome. So you're just waiting for that right moment. I never understood, like, I never knew how to play that out. I ran a one shot for someone, and they got, like, for a group, and they got bit. One of them got bit by a were-rat and failed. We never continued it, but I was, like, trying to think about how I could do it. I thought it'd be fun to, like, I was making him once a day roll, like, Constitution saving throw or wisdom. I was doing wisdom saving throws, like keeping your mental awareness. And because it was a were-rat, I was making it funny where he would just turn into a regular giant rat, because they can do that. And then he was just like, I was like, but you're a rat, so you're running around pooping all over the place. And like, so like every like couple days on their travel, he would turn to a rat, and then the party was just spent like a couple hours just trying to hold him in place and just like scrambling around. But eventually I was going to have it turn on him where every time he failed, the DC kept getting higher, and eventually it was going to go more into were-rat status. Because I looked it up, and I was like, you're level 3, you can't be this strong. No way. Because like a legit were-rat is very dangerous and very strong. I was like, you're pretty much immune to everything that is non-magical.
Just go bite everything.
Yeah, I was like, you're completely immune to everything non-magical, and it says the effects stay on when you're still, even when you're not in were-rat form. From what I read, it could be wrong. I could have tweaked it, but that gets very finicky when it's like, it's bad, but eventually you're going to turn on, or it's good in the beginning until you eventually start turning on your party. So, but things happen and things get busy, but thanks for hanging out. Thanks for joining us. Why don't you take some time, Nikko, just talk about Elven Firefly, talk about any other projects, any plugs you got to do. The floor is yours.
All right, thank you so much. So first of all, thank you for having me. This was a blast.
Yeah.
I love this convo, and if you'll have me, I'm going to return someday in the future. It was a very pleasant conversation.
Yeah.
So Elven Firefly, what I do with Elven Firefly is that I make system-agnostic adventure locations that are easily modifiable, and you can put them in your campaigns either as a whole or in bits and pieces. It has just enough information for you to have a one-shot or a mini adventure, or to run it as it is. And I create some quirky, wholesome NPCs that really that really stay with in your heart, and do some articles that are have inspiration, some lore, and advice for you to hopefully run some better games to enrich your gaming experience and find something in them.
Awesome. Love to hear that. Thanks so much. And this was great too. I'll definitely, I'm gonna start circling back some past guests, because it's great to kind of follow up. And I'll add you to the Discord too. We have a Discord where actually on Sundays, probably just went off on noon our time, we kind of give updates on what's been going on in our game. So welcome to join our small little group. And anyone else who wants to join, you can find the Discord link in my descriptions and stuff. We roll initiative every day, and we laugh. Sometimes people do great, other times we don't, and then we say we're gonna get back in bed. We kind of judge our day by our initiative rolls, but it's a good time. Follow the show. If you like the show, if you've been enjoying it, leave us a good review. It helps a lot. It's awesome. And as I always say, if you don't want to leave a good review, if you don't like the show, don't leave a review, because that's how you should do it, right? Because that's what we were taught when we were kids. Yeah, if you want to be a guest, you can either reach out to me on Twitter, T Decillis Comedy. That's what Nico did. And then you can also email me at youhadtobethere@dndpodcast@gmail.com. Anyone who is kind of maybe just joining us for the first time, the episodes drop every other Wednesday, or you can catch us live here on Twitch when we go live. And my intro, the music for my intro was created by Michael James McGarry. You can follow him at It's MJ Made on Instagram and SoundCloud. And my logo was created by Nicole Summers from the Reliably Chaotic Podcast. And all the other information, you're smart enough, you can find out. It's in the bios and stuff. So thanks for joining, everybody. Thanks for listening. This has been You Had to Be There with Nico Mitrovic from Elven Firefly. All right. Bye, everyone.